Recording over there. Recording over there. Music started. I'll put some little intro here once we get started. But
yeah, if you want to like lead it,
yeah,
and then like you can.
We're
we're
officially recording for the final word, as I've been allowed to come back to my show. This time we have, I don't know if it's one or two special guests. I'm very confused right now. The pre-pod.
Three.
Okay. The pre-pod threw me through a lot of loops. We have the uncrowned. We have both brothers here, Callum and Adam.
Hello.
Yeah, good luck to those listening. We're going to make it...
It's good to be back.
I'm not going to have them check in before they drop a line, but if you hear Doc twice, he might be playing an elaborate prank on me here. So we're going to jump right into Consequence, and we'll wrap everything up at the end. I kind of want to look at it and compare it to some of the other pay-per-views that we had at the end. But first, we're going to jump right into the action with the Thomas Archer T.Y. Sparks International Championship match. Some confusion on the stream, if you guys remember. Thomas Archer came out to no commentary, and I was like kind of losing it because I thought I fucked something up. But no, he does cut a little promo where he's a little more serious than usual, and he is basically explaining to those who didn't really follow the Archer Academy who was eliminated, why they were eliminated, and why T.Y. Sparks made it to the championship match. So
I kind of like this because it was basically just like I don't know how to put it, like Archer is kind of nice in the way that like he's basically he was going to fuck everyone over, wasn't he? So it's kind of like it's playing into his strengths as a character. Yeah. And while there is some things to be said about the match itself, which made Archer look strong as hell. Like, this was like a squash match in a way. Like, T.Y. Sparks did not know what hit him, and even though he made that comeback for a couple of minutes, like, the fact that it didn't even look like he was going to win, even when he made that comeback, because Archer was not damaged enough. It was too late, too little. But whoever wins that international championship is going to have some like, he's going to be elevated quite a lot, because, as much as Jamie didn't want to win the championship with Archer, it's probably been the best thing for it since like it came back.
Yeah, and he's a really good character, especially being the heel. So like he says a lot of things in here that are just mean and arrogant. So if you ignore Jamie in the main chat, like if Thomas Archer's a fantastic character, and it is good. Like you have a brand new championship, and I know it is an older championship, but for all intents and purposes, they brought it in as the new Turmoil Midcard title. And what better way to elevate it to, like, because this is supposed to be the equivalent of the Pride Championship on Riot, and obviously at this point it's not. But Thomas Archer would be the perfect heel equivalent to Bobby Minio to put it where it needs to go. So with the match, you pretty much said all that needed to be said. T.Y. Sparks, I think, suffered more from not lack of skill in the ring, because plenty of people get over without being good at the game. He suffers from not having an established character or like background. Like if this was AC Cobra, for example, he sucks, and he has such a great following because he's spent the better part of the season becoming this underdog character, which was the perfect opposite corner for Antonio, which we'll get to later. But I think TY just didn't have that, so squash or not, it just never felt like there was going to be a chance.
I think there's a lot of potential for T.Y. Sparks to take this kind of squash defeat and like turn it into an underdog kind of character on Turmoil, because it's not really been established whether Sparks is a babyface or a heel really over the season. So I think if he plays his cards right, he can definitely get some semblance of a character going into next season, hopefully. And and I think it's worth mentioning Salami Kane not eating shit for once on an OCW paper coming out after the match.
I forgot about the Salami. So it looks like he's kind of next in line. It's interesting. Blacksmith was the first to get a crack at this title when it was new in that triple threat at Road to Glory, and now they're facing off here in a couple of weeks at Savage Saturday. So that might end up being consequential. He did it.
I wouldn't complain about the more contentious match. It just adds a bit of stakes to that match and more meaning. And obviously, Salami Berry getting the shovel out with his promo that he put earlier.
That was actually he's a good talker, man.
I was going to say that it's really like, considering like the acting ability of the Fed is like, the standard isn't very high. I think that was actually very good. It was believable. I think the only thing for Salami is his core needs a bit of work. I think he needs that Jess treatment
to really like elevate that, like just the aesthetic aspect of the character.
Even then, he's managed to carve out like a sort of like aesthetic and how he looks. Like this guy that he's not the best looking lad in the world, is he? But he's still like he's created a good sort of like base foundation for a character that could potentially dethrone Thomas Archer potentially at SummerSlam or something like that, depending on what happens. Really,
said Salami already has that backing, so he's not coming from like an unknown like Ty is, or like Benjamin Moore would have been if he won it. Somebody like Salami Kane, who has just like skyrocketed since he joined, he's doing it the right way, would be an awesome at this point. I guess he's a babyface.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Which I think is the reason for the change in aesthetic. He went from like the dark overcoat and the long tights, which I liked, to what he's got now, which is a very default create a superstar look. But it does work a little better as a face when you're not wearing all the dark and all the dragon scales and whatever. Yeah. So I wanted to do like a out of 4-star rating here for each of these. This one, one star. One star.
Out of four. I would say 1.5. I think it was. It wasn't a bad match. It wasn't bad. Like none of the matches on this card were bad. It was just very like solid. I suppose. Like if there was like on like a Turmoil or Riot, I think you'd say that's a pretty decent match.
It was clean. I'll tell you that. It was very clean.
Yeah.
Like TY did a lot of good things late in the match. Like there's a spot where he did that off the top rope backdrop and he countered it. Like very Rob Van Dam-esque. That was a cool spot, but. TY's match quality will go up as his character is built. You cannot put on amazing matches unless you have heat. You just can't.
Yeah. Right. I mean, he's got a good move set. He's got a good look, but yeah, it's just like that final.
He needs to be defined.
Step.
He really does. Something that you guys are the masters of, whichever one of you I'm talking about. So the next RP we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on. It's Max, who has had a shaky start to his career. He didn't realize that his 2 matches he had were aired on TV, which was a little concerning, but he did say he didn't have internet for a while. So hopefully he sticks around. Guys, I'm not going to dive into it, jump in there and read it. It's not bad. He's not a bad writer.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to see rookies actually interacting with the show, and actually RP obviously needs somebody to like interact with and add, like basically flesh out his character. But like, it's always nice to see rookies actually doing stuff. So,
I mean, I spoke to him a little bit earlier. He's trying to get something going. I mean, all power to him. Fair play, go do it. Like, get yourself fleshed out, and you know, that's all you need to do. Really, it's not much. It's not asking for much.
I'll tell you what doesn't need to be fleshed out is our next segment, which is the P3 Bonanza. One of if we have like a segment of the year for 2019, this is the easy winner. Every single show, it's just such a great way to break up the action with like just crazy bullshit. It's the Eric Andre show, but with OCW, and they pull it off so well.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting though, because they did mention quite a lot about being the greatest tag team in the world and this, that, and the other, which is kind of interesting to me because I'd like to see Drago and Mugen have more tag team matches, you know, as crap as they are in the game, just to be able to legitimize that division by having more matches on Riots and Turmoils and whatever, just and having such like definitive, like what's the word, like veterans of OCW being in that tag division might make it a bit more appealing, I suppose, for people wanting to start or not wanting to start a tag team at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly was going into Devil's Night. Like that was one of the big appeals of our match was, holy shit, it's like 2 Hall of Famers. Drago wasn't at the time, but of course he is now. So, and for the record, that was whichever of these 2 was talking just now. He meant as shit as tag team matches are, not Drago and Mugen. They're obviously very good.
No, yeah, of course, yeah.
Speaking of the tag team division, up next is the rubber match, the 3rd match in the season-long series between the Inception, that's Katie Angelo and Tyson Wagner, and CQC, of course. The Inception began as a way to take down Trill Trash Trademark, which CQC is no longer a part of, funny enough. But this...
I'm not sure how happy Spider and Cass are to hear that.
It doesn't matter. Cass is never going to listen to this. So what's interesting, I think it's kind of cool if you look at it. The Inception, their first match was at Certified Greatness. So that was Ijitu and Russ Cole as they were firmly in TTT. They lost there, which pretty much broke up CQC from TTT. And then it was kind of that middle transition area for the Quartz character. And now we're firmly in babyface CQC. So we've kind of hit all 3 levels of the spectrum. And it's been an interesting rivalry, even though, admittedly, the matches haven't been awesome. This, I will say, was probably second. The Road to Glory one was much better because just, I guess, the story elevated a little bit. This one kind of dragged.
I feel like we've seen this match so many times now. We've seen it a lot. Like, we've seen different like ways. Like, we've obviously seen the 3 tag matches. Then there's been a bunch of like singles matches between these 4. I think it's probably a good thing that it's over and we can move on.
Yeah, I mean, what I liked about this was there was obviously the added layer of CQC potential breakup, which obviously was sold on commentary quite well by you and I think it was Nick, wasn't it, on commentary? Yes. But to me, like, CQC to me are still like natural born heels. I think their like dominating style that they have, like, you know, they've in their RPs and stuff, they've turned babyface. They're quite clearly like talking like babyfaces, but they're still wrestling the same as they did when they were part of TTT. So, like, there's just something there. There's a bit of a disconnect for me. I don't really know if you've picked up on that yourself.
Well, with the wrestling style, I will agree with you. It hasn't changed. There are some moveset differences. Like, there were big, powerful heel type moves that you would see before from us that you don't really see anymore. Because Rust and I did sit down and change a few things, and I think the biggest change is just in the taunts, which is kind of embarrassing to say. I don't know if it's us being shitty heels when we were heels, or us being shitty baby faces, or if we're just natural tweeners. But that's why OCW is great to me, is that you're able to flesh that stuff out in other areas in the ring, which we got stuff to work on, like you said. But
especially with the Quartz character in CQC, in that, like, he's like very like he's crazy and he's got like 5 million different personalities. There's a lot of potential there for him not to be like a babyface or a heel. He's very flexible in the way that he can go in between. With Cole, I think it's a lot more like the way he's a lot more silent. He's a quiet, like, he's like cold and whatnot. That more to me personally appeals to like him being basically an out and out heel. So I think, while I think CQC as babyfaces, it's fine. It's obviously it's always going to be good RP work. It's Quartz and Cole. It's obviously going to be good, but I very much do. I would say I prefer CQC, like, in this match, where, like, obviously it's obviously nice how, like, the dynamic has very much changed over the last 3 matches. Inception started as baby faces, now they're pretty much heels. I mean, I suppose they're more like going back to baby faces now, with like H2O turning baby face more, as I think we'll get onto that in the main event.
We're just all over the place in this event.
Yeah, but like, yeah, it's just, I think we probably CQC want to be like established baby faces and not like when I see CQC, I associate them with heels. I think they're CQC, they're bad guys. I feel like if we saw potentially more like I suppose like more like if tag matches were more like could flow better, I think we could definitely see it would be a lot more apparent that CQC, there would be a lot more it'd be better. There would be more ability to show CQC as actual babyface instead of the same people just as now, and you're going to cheer for us because we're good guys because we told you that.
Fair enough.
Pretty much.
Fair enough. I don't want to spend too much time on this because it was a it was a mad match. Because it had a little more heat than the first one based on the history, I'll bump it up a 0.5 star, but I don't think I'm putting this any higher than 1.5 as well.
I personally think this was probably slightly below the first match for me, just because I think I prefer the fact it was a singles match, really. I mean, they're both very similar quality, but just because the first one was a lot more, I suppose, easy to digest. It was a lot shorter. It was a lot more digestible. So I think it was probably slightly below the first match.
Yeah, I'll be a bit different. I'll give it a 2 stars out of 4. I thought it was a decent match. I actually wrote down, I probably thought this was my favourite out of the trilogy.
Oh, interesting.
Of CQC versus Inception. So, you know, obviously there were FPR issues in the first couple of matches, but this was clean. I didn't notice anything massive at all, I don't think. So, you know, this was good. This was fine.
The next one is kind of like a half and half between what we've seen with the troop storyline, with them getting attacked and all of that, and just also showing his speaking ability and kayfabe and like how he can be very versatile as a character. So this was good. I want to focus mostly on the stuff that I know everybody has seen. So for the RPs, we'll keep it short. I want everybody to go watch the web show, obviously, and like all the videos. But yeah, this was not bad.
Yeah, I mean, this was part of like the bigger turmoil female murder mystery story, which, you know, surely this is Blaine carrying out all these attacks. Like, let's be real.
We'll have to wait and see.
If you're reading the literature, all signs point to that. I mean, I like the concept of it, but like the fact that we have a wrestler going around committing crimes, like literally aggravated assaults, isn't really my cup of tea. I'd rather see it like kept in the ring. Like, call me old fashioned, but that's what I prefer. But
Nobody's
do what you want.
Whoever you are.
Adam. Yes, that's all I got to say.
Yeah. So next up was actually, I am a big. This might surprise you. I'm a big fan of KD's just vertical video match promos. Like they're so simple, but they make me smile. This one was like, it's kind of intense. It was like different from his other ones. So
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind a KD Angelo redemption story, like in terms of like, because he's been a presence on a lot of shows, and obviously he's not particularly got the best record on pay per view. So if you were to see like a KD like build from the bottom up, you know, where he used to be, I think that'd be very interesting. I think I'd definitely pay attention to that.
Okay, well, the next one up, like we're all looking forward to KD, and it does set him up to be like a sympathetic babyface in the future. For the next one, we have a feud that, for pretty obvious reasons, hasn't really been in the limelight. Yeah, it's the Man Called Jupiter and Mark Reese, something that harkens all the way back to Ambition, and then kind of reignited at Resolution when Mark Reese interrupted him and military press slammed him out the ring. This is kind of, Jupiter has become like this very much negative, nihilist, like anti. What's the word I'm looking for?
Anti-fun.
Social, like the societal structure. He's very anti-normal. He's like that weird kid that's like not going to conform and he's going to get bullied for it and he doesn't care. He's So he's been like yelling and doing these weird segments, telling Mark Reese that he is the reason that all of this shit, that like the world is poison and everything. So here's just another one. The Man Called Jupiter bullies a little kid. Mark Reese saves him. Very, very much vanilla stuff.
Yeah, it's very classic. I think it's good. I think Mark Reese is a really good character, and I think the Man Called Jupiter has a lot of like comedic potential as a heel, and like being the person who gets egg on his face at the end of the story kind of thing. So yeah. But, this match is intriguing. It's had a good build. I don't know whether it's going to go on Savage Saturday or on a Turmoil or whatever, but, I'm looking forward to it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a nice... It's good when any match has the type of build, no matter where it is. So, looking forward to probably, in terms of a pure wrestling match, one of the better on the whole pay-per-view. It has no, like, it's not a number one contender match. It's not a title match, not for his briefcase. It's Trey Golden versus Court Marshall. It's a straight up singles match with no titles on the line. It is just a guy who turned his back on his friend and his friend coming to get revenge. Court Marshall is one of the best pure wrestling minds that we have in OCW. Say what you want about his personality. I like the guy, but I know other people don't. But he really is one of the best wrestling personalities that we have, and he showed it in this match. He's such a good storyteller.
I think Court very much is one of those guys that really understands his character. He understands what his character would do in different situations, and like, I think this match was good. It was like short and sweet. It didn't need to be a massive like 20-minute classic. It just needed to be a solid like. It was 10 minutes, 10 minutes, just solid wrestling where told a good story. I like how, I mean, they were putting over on commentary how like Trey was like a Golden Gloves boxing champion or whatever, but like you could see throughout the match like Trey was definitely trying to like out wrestle Court, which was like very interesting considering you'd think Trey was like would just try and beat the crap out of Court, which he did at parts in the match, but a lot of it was very much Court trying to figure out Trey and Trey actually going against what Court maybe thought Trey was going to do. But I think it was a lot of back and forth. But I think as soon as Trey started losing like a reversal advantage in the match, he very much seemed behind. He seemed like he was chasing the match a lot throughout. But I think there was a lot of times where Trey looked dominant. There was a lot of times where Court looked like really smart and conniving and like just like feeling out Trey and just like picking his spots, which is obviously it's really good to see because that's definitely like the Court character. It very much fits what you'd want to try and portray in the match. So it was just overall like very good. It was solid. It was a good pay-per-view
Adam,
match.
what do you think about it? What do you think about how much the build contributed to this versus the match just on its face?
I thought the build was great. I mean, it in parts it intertwined with obviously Court winning the future investment with Trey in the match, Court getting involved with me and H2O and B17, and then obviously Trey trying to stop the what I guess would be the
heel turn.
The turn, trying to stop it, but him getting brass knucked in the face, and what led to this match. And there was a lot of heat on this match. I mean, if you obviously read the literature, you would have known that there's this was a really good story.
I think if anybody can bounce back from a defeat, it's Trey Gordon. He's done it about 4 or 5 times this season, and he's still
Trey Gordon
much prominent.
Is a great example of how, as long as everything is done correctly, it doesn't matter at the end of the day whether you win or lose, because he wins this, he vanquishes this smarmy heel, like just in a wrestling sense. It's not fixed, but if it was, it works both ways, because he wins, he beats the heel, fans go home happy. He loses. Now we have a future investment holder who is really running rampant through people right now, and as we'll see later, we have a championship changing hands. So now we're in a very dangerous position with Court Marshall. He's building himself to be somebody who is formidable holding the briefcase. He's done a better job than his female counterpart. I'll say that.
Yeah, he's very much improved a lot over the season, and now he actually genuinely feels like he could potentially break into the main event at any point. Really, I've been really impressed with how he's managed to take this character after he won the future investment briefcase and actually turn it into a potential main event act. So that's just really good.
Well, moving on to the next RP. It's Harvey Hamilton Ocean and the new general manager of OCW, not Riot, not Turmoil, but OCW. Tiberius, Octavian Dupree, they have a little back and forth. H2O name drops a couple of different people, kind of setting up for maybe his future story after he possibly does beat Doc Green for the World Heavyweight Championship. So this is, it's a Dupree promo. It's entertaining. Get yourself a drink and read it.
I love Dupree in this role. I think he, as a GM, very much fits his character, which is it's what you expect out of Dupree. Obviously, every single promo he's going to do is going to be great, and since he has come into that GM role, he's very much thrived, I think.
Yeah, I think also the fact he's been so active trying to get people involved with him and being a part of storylines in obviously quite a small role. I thought this was great for Harvey as well, because it added that stake of if Harvey doesn't win this match, he's not going to get another chance for, I guess, a long time.
That's a great point.
That isn't really specified, but that added stake does really add a bit of heat to the match, which maybe wasn't massively needed, not to toot my own horn, but I thought me and Harvey, the way we wrote, I thought I was very it was very easy to write with Harvey and tell stories with him. But that this extra little bit I just thought was just the little icing, the little cherry on the icing on the cake kind of thing going on.
Yeah,
so,
people always says you don't really need an RP at the pay-per-views, but these small little things, it wasn't a long read, it didn't set up any giant storylines in the future, it just was. So and it was good. Just to go back 1 second, we didn't rate Court and Trey. I'm giving it 3 stars easily, 3 out of 4.
Yeah, I was gonna give it 3 as well, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be different. I'm going to say 2.75, which is good, which is well over half.
Absolutely. So, okay, so next we have the Motor City Street Fight between AC Cobra and Antonio Everett, the rematch. Kind of on one side, the challenger, a build that's been 4, maybe 2 or 3 years in the making, because he's been here so long. Yeah. And with Antonio Everett, it's kind of a stamp, especially at the end. Whether is he really going to stick to this? I know Antonio and Doc backstage have been talking Doc's trying to be the moral, hey, this is not how we do things. This is not how you're being disrespectful. And Antonio just doesn't care. He let the title get to his head. So for a street fight, I'm pretty sure 90% of this match took place out of the ring. So sometimes you'll see Extreme Rules or hardcore matches that are wrestling matches with weapons. And it's hard to do creative things it's not like we're Attitude Era, hardcore matches. It's hard to do stuff. But this match was outside of the ring the whole time. They used their environment. They told a great story. That powerbomb spot, like at a certain point I was like is AC Cobra going to get hit by it? And then the sit out last ride was like a huge exclamation point. So this was the ultimate David and Goliath thing here. I had no idea AC Cobra was going to win. When you got serious, hit powerbombed him on the stairs and threw him back in, I was like, all right, he's done fucking with him. And then that ending sequence, boom, boom, boom. There's like comebacks. There's mid moves. It was an awesome finish.
Yeah, it was very, very much a complete, just like, I hit my comeback, I got the second reversal, then it was just after that I was like, oh no, this is actually happening. And you know what, I actually have no issue with giving Cobra the title. I have no qualms about it. The dude deserves it. He's been an absolute pleasure to work with. He's been really good. He's been really obviously active, making sure, you know, everything's just we've tried to make sure the build has been as good as possible. We've tried to like fill in every single gap we can. And I think it very much works for the AC Cobra character to win this match. And I feel like there's definitely a lot he can do with this title now, because he's been here for so long. I think he's finally deserves an opportunity to shine. I think he needs to take this and run with it and take it as far as he can, because this really, possibly, this reign could establish AC Cobra as a genuine threat on Riot, potentially, if he plays it right.
I agree.
Yeah, I was just going to say also, Jay slaughtering Cobra on commentary for the entire match was absolute gold, and it just made it all that better when he won. Because if Jay had been talking all this shit and then he lost, it, like, you know, the whole, you know, egg on face moment where Cobra wins and Jay's been talking all this crap, but now Cobra is the light heavyweight champion. I think it really put this nice neat bow on top of the story, having Cobra win.
It's going to be a nominee and a serious competitor for best storyline of the year, I think, just because of all the things that went into it. It was fantastic. There's so many different things to talk about with this, like Antonio Everett beating who he did to raise the championship to where it was when AC Cobra stepped up. That's an important part too, because he needs some names. I don't have to tell you guys that.
Yeah,
I know you were on the
I
top
think
line.
there was a lot of reason. There was definitely a lot of reason why Antonio would let this get to his head, and he's very much been humbled now. I think the AC Cobra Antonio Everett story is kind of over for now, but I'll win my title back.
No spoils. No spoils.
Yeah, we'll see.
This one, because it had the heat that it did, there's a couple of things that could have been desired. It wasn't like the best pure wrestling match or anything, but with the finish, with everything included, I'm giving it 3.5. Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 3.25. Because I don't want to seem too biased.
good play.
Yeah, I mean, I won't rate it, but like, it was never going to be a technical classic, was it? It was always just going to be a fun 20-minute. These two dudes are going to beat each other up until one person can't get up anymore, and then that person's going to lose, and the other one's going to win.
We've seen very redundant hardcore matches. This was not. It was all over the place. It had a lot of flexibility, like a lot of different spots. There wasn't like the same thing being repeated over and over. So.
Except powerbomb.
Which worked though. Before I start repeating myself over and over, let's move on to the next one. Not a whole lot to say here. I know that Joshua Tucker's not in really a storyline anymore after the Archer Academy ended. What I'm going to say is I'm very pumped. Every time I read a Joshua Tucker promo, I love his gimmick of the hype man. It's so much fun. I just imagine him what's going on, Slim Jim? I just say, he's great. So I think Tucker has a lot of potential. If he wasn't probably the second worst player on the sticks in OCW, he's got a lot of room to work. We all sucked when we started.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the two most successful rookies of all time. Yeah, we know. So that is what it is. We'll move straight along to Talos and Bobby Mineo. Bobby Mineo been on an absolute friggin' tear since he won this title at the Clash. He is officially the longest reigning champion of any kind in OCW currently. He does win this match against Talos, but it was a bit... I don't know if it's because of the... Talos isn't as established as his other opponents. I think it was about on the same level as the first Max Wale match. So it was okay. It was okay. Like you said, there's no bad matches on this card, but I'm interested to see what you think.
I would have liked to see the build. So Bobby was very much building this idea that he was basically going to go in, like, turn insane and just lose his marbles and go feral. Basically, I would have liked to see that play into the match, because as soon as like Bobby came out and he was dancing and he had his normal haircut and he was messing around doing Bobby things, like I just thought that's very much a missed opportunity. But obviously it's Bobby Migno, so it was never going to be a bad match per se, but it was very much there was a lot of potential there for the Bobby character to very much branch out into like what he was teasing, building up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what I will say about it is that, like, you know, Bobby's character change with this match, he beat a much bigger guy convincingly. Like, this was even though, you know, throughout the match Bobby may have not even had like the reversal advantage, he was just relentless. He just killed and killed and killed. And, you know, if you combine that with other aspects of his character change, that is an opportunity there which I'd like to see develop more. And, you know, him doing all the super kicks like he usually does, doing the Buddy Murphy entrance like he usually does. You know, I think there is a lot of potential there for the full, you know, turn of his character. But I mean,
there was a lot of like there was some good moments with Telos in this match where he the first thing that springs to mind in my head is the powerbomb into the ring post, which just looked that was a very good moment. Yeah, that was a good moment for him, but I think that was pretty much the only moment where it looked like Telos was in control. Bobby very much showed why he is the longest reigning champion in OCW at the minute.
Yeah, and on that, I was going to say, I think Bobby is yet to really be truly tested as Pride champion. You know, like I'd say his biggest test was winning that triple threat for him to win the title. And, you know, SummerSlam's coming up. It's I guess you call it the second biggest pay per view. That's something where I want to see some.
Well, what we're looking at here, I think, with Talos is it didn't come off to me as a squash in the sense that Talos is way more established than T.Y. Sparks, for example. So you have T.Y. Sparks in a position he doesn't really fit in when you look at the card. Talos absolutely belonged here. This is right firmly where his character is at the moment. And he competed. Like, he looked good in defeat. I was surprised he didn't reverse that liberation frequency. I guess Bobby's timing threw him off. But it very much did come out of nowhere, because I think all of us expected some more fight out of Talos. And then, you know, I don't think it was bad, but it wasn't certainly one of Bobby Minio's. It's just another notch in the belt, you know.
Yeah, I would like to see a more established character fight Bobby at Summerside / Savage Lands. I think maybe like a Trey Golden. Like, I know he lost on the show, but like someone like that it makes sense for someone like him to face Bobby. Whether I just had the thought now, if Trey Golden wins that match and Cobra retains, they're going to have a very similar moment to what me and Callum had with Certified Greatness of both of members of a tag team holding gold at the end of the show. That's if cool. That happens. We have to wait and see.
Well, yeah, you know, I'm just throwing it out.
Now we get back to sorry. This one, I got to just stick right in the middle, because, like I said, another notch in the belt. 2 stars out of 4.
I'd say 1.7.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2 too.
Yeah,
or 2 out of 4.
It was very much a good pay-per-view match. If this match was on a TV show, it would have a higher rating because it would have more importance. But we got more matches to get to. Before we do, Dragana is going to get her knee broken by the assailant. So the second member of the troupe is down. And this kind of fits together pretty perfectly with what Jess did earlier, really warning this person not to go after Elsa. So we skip over Elsa and we go right for the big, scary person of the group with Dragana. So now that's 2 members that are down and out, leaving actual troupe member Elsa and, you know, kind of auxiliary friend Aerith. So it'll be interesting to see how they follow up coming out of this. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts before we move on.
At least we definitely know it's not Dragana. There you go. That's my thought on it.
Yeah, we're eliminating troupe members and suspects.
Yep.
Next one was a pretty creative promo from Odon Klein. We saw him do the Splinter Cell thing on the Go Home show. I love this what they're doing, whether you like their characters or their calls or not. I do not like Leo Grimm's call. I think there's just too much going on. His promos are great. But his call, but whatever. Whether you think of that or not, what they are doing, that would be him, El Parca, and Leo Grimm. They are doing it the right way. You RP to establish yourself. Yeah. You get booked more because you're RPing. You RP with the people you're booked against to give your matches heat. And eventually you find somebody just on those first 3 steps that you do a program with. So whoever wants to know how to do it in OCW, this is how.
Yeah. I think I definitely want to see the payoff to whatever's going on at the minute, whether it formed like an Odin Klein, Leo Grimm tag team or something, or whatever, or Parker gets some babyface comeuppance, or whatever the word is, just retribution, I suppose. I mean, either way, I'm very interested. One thing I will say.
Well, you go first.
Well, one thing I will say about Odin Klein's attire is he looked a little bit ridiculous when he came out on Riot.
We all agree with that.
I mean, that the helmet was a bit much for me. I think the vest as well. It's like it was unique, but I think his old look was a lot better than the one that he.
I don't think he's going to. I honestly don't think he's going to have that a lot. Like it doesn't seem like a quote unquote wrestling thing. But you know, this could potentially be all these guys' first pay-per-view match at Savage Saturday. You know, we'll see. Like that show is shaping up to give a chance to a lot of these people who are staying active, maybe not in any title pictures but they're making their own heat for their matches. So you know, we'll see.
And some breaking news here: the card was posted as this was being recorded. Looks like Isu and El Parka will tag up against Leo Grimm and Odin Klein this next Tuesday on Riot. So there you go. Moving on now, we have an after Bobby Mineo match deal. It's like the H2O one that we did earlier. It's very short, very to the point.
Yeah.
It is what a pay-per-view RP should be. I think I'm learning that more as we go on.
I think this was good. This was good character progression for Bobby, but like it was very much the development was before the match and after the match. I think if it was in the match, between the match, it would have very much been a lot more prominent, and I think I probably would have liked it a bit more.
Yeah, no, I think Bobby's whole insane thing came to a head here. Like, you didn't see it in the match because he was like, okay, this is it. So if he loses, this promo is a lot longer, a lot more unhinged, and Bobby is the changed man. But he won, so you see it there. Content for the first time in a long time, holding the sleeping man.
Yeah,
so it was good.
He's doing like the my precious moment kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll see if he keeps the insane gimmick going on as we get to Little Bubba, the People's Champion, against Empress. This match has a ton of heat. Whether you know, again, say what you will about the kidnapping storyline. I think they kind of salvaged it at the end because it kind of turned away from the fact that it might be murder into Empress actually like taking them and like taking care of them and you know, just trying to play mind games. It still wasn't really, I think, what they were going for in terms of heat, but it established all of this heat and really showed that Empress was the alpha in that tag team and stepped apart from Ashley. And she is a mean little bitch.
I really, really, really like this match. Empress looked like a beast from start to finish. She didn't need to win this match. Like, I think if she would have won, it might have been a bit detrimental to everyone involved. But she looked really good. Like the way she very much commanded her presence around the ring. She was very much on top at times. She looked like an absolute just savage, just twatting Valkyrie over the edge just countless amount of times. It very much showed that she did not care. She wanted to beat Valkyrie. She wanted to get in her head. She was playing mind games. She was doing this, doing that. Like, I was very impressed with Empress.
Yeah, I was just gonna add that this is, for me, well, I mean, since I've been here, Valk's best match and Empress's best match in turn.
Yeah.
Like, there was so many elements of this which I enjoyed, like the pop for the imagination, which is so apparent on commentary when Jay and you were literally screaming. It was brilliant. Yeah, and like for a first title match, Empress looked great, but just got outsmarted by the veteran instinct of Valkyrie.
Yeah, I think if Valkyrie lost this match, I think it would have very much like illegitimized the kind of the whole build up to the women's championship. I think like her championship win, I think she definitely needed this more than Empress. Like, so I think it was the right winner, but both guys looked awesome. So
yeah, and I also wanted to mention obviously the post match angle with Ashley Moore coming out and stopping Empress. You know, there's a lot of ways that this could go because this could be a face turn for Ashley Moore. This could be another mind game where, you know, how Ashley's got the briefcase, so she's going to act like she wants to protect Valkyrie, but then it's going to turn. And there's a lot of ways that this can go, and it's very intriguing, I'd say. So,
yes, I was a fan of the end, and absolutely this match was one of the better on the card. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I'd say this was probably my favorite. This was my favorite match on the card.
Empress is really good in the ring with the way she tells the story.
Mm.
Like, I don't even think she's one of the better. She's like court martial a lot for the women's division. She's very good at expressing who Empress is without needing to read any words. Some people are better the other way, but needless to say, it was one of the better matches. I am going to stick it at, just because of the impact of the moment of the light heavyweight title match, that gave it a little half for me. So obviously not bad at all. I'm giving it 3 out of 4.
I'm giving it 3.5. I think.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 3.5 too.
Fair enough. Fair enough. There you go. We're going to move right on. Valkyrie is still your world's women's wrestling champion. And,
you changed it, actually.
Yeah, they did. They threw me off there on commentary, if you noticed. So the next one is the one that in the pre-podcast conversation that you guys were just like fawning over. It's this Rex promo, and he's solo. He's by himself.
I wouldn't say.
For the most part, Jim is there, but you know,
wouldn't say.
So I mean, you guys love it. You go ahead on it.
I mean, it was just Rex being Rex, very much.
Well, I will take over from here. I think Rex sold this match like a motherfucker. Whether or not you enjoyed the Pew versus Rex match, this was like real heartfelt, compelling writing, and solidified this face Rex character, and puts him like in a really good position to go and now challenge Malu or whatever he wants to do now. Like whatever he's going to do next at SummerSide, he's going to be the most over babyface act on Turmoil. So, you know, that mission accomplished. Yeah.
I called him Stone Cold Scum Austin in chat earlier, and I think just because I said he transcends babyface and heel, he's the perfect anti-hero, especially with Paul Pugh coming in. The last like a couple opponents he's had have put him over as like a crowd favorite, despite him being an absolute cunt. And this RP does nothing short of that. So we're moving on to the last page, I believe, or second to last page. So this is H2O and Heather doing more of their back and forth that they've been doing for the better part of 2 years. Kind of plugging the FloJo Heather match a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say this was interesting to me because this RP really showed how similar Heather and H2O are. Like in many ways, like, you know, if that was Doc's intentions from the beginning, that is great work. And how the two characters' backstories like line up and why they've come together and like over these last couple of years. And you know, it just confirms the match FloJo versus Heather, which, you know, if FloJo can win that's going to be a big win for her. So
absolutely, it will be. Yeah. And if nothing else, there we're moving on to the co-main event or the semi-main event rather. Paul Pugh and Rex. Now, this is a controversial one. The build to Paul Pugh versus Rex was, as they usually are,
awesome.
Very awesome. Two of the biggest names in OCW, one being one of the biggest ever, coming to a head here, having a lot of great video work on the segments that they had. The match itself, not so much. I didn't like it. What did you guys think?
I think it suffered from being a no-holds-barred match. I think it didn't need any more layers. I think if you just had these two one-on-one, just no excuses, no anything, just two guys having a wrestling match, he was better. I think that it would have very much helped it. Yeah, I think if the Extreme Rules stipulation didn't suit Rex so well, then it probably would have been just a regular singles match. I think this was a good match technically, like you're watching it through, but there were elements where it dragged a little bit, but you know, that was to be expected in such a long match. You know, but Pugh and Rex is two of the most defined characters on Turmoil, and this match felt important through every minute to me. Like, you know, especially towards the end with Rex bringing out the dive, the air Rex I've written here, and the major of like when Pugh hit that pedigree, or he went to hit the pedigree, and Rex got the major reversal. That was a big moment because that could have turned the match and made Rex look like a chump. But Rex got the win with the beautifully poetic kendo stick assisted crossface, which Pugh obviously went for in the
and I think
towards the beginning of the match.
I think what hurt it for me personally was the fact that there were so many good moments, and another one that we didn't mention was Rex getting skyrocketed through the moon on terms of like how over and how strong he is by kicking out of that top rope pedigree. That was the moment for me that was like, oh shit, like I already knew Rex was the shit, but this is crazy. Like Pugh was putting people over left and right. I think it suffered because it had too many. of those. The Antonio Everett AC Cobra match, which is what I compared this to. It was 10 minutes shorter, first of all, and it seemed to me like these two were hurting each other to hurt each other, to like give themselves an advantage in the match. This felt like, let's do as many hardcore things as we can in 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think it was obviously Rex versus Pure. I think it was always going to be like, it was going to be a clean match. It wasn't like there wasn't any issues with it. There was just times where it picked up, and then I was like, okay, here we go. This is the Rex versus Pure match I wanted to see. And then it kind of just went flat for a bit. It was just kind of, there was nothing really, and then there was a big massive German suplex through a flaming table, and I was like, okay, here we go. Now here's Rex versus Pure, and then it kind of just went back down to just being
flat. I think it was a little bit stop-start in places, but that was obviously what you're going to get with a 30-minute match. So but overall I'd still give it 3 out of 4 stars. I think there was a lot in this match which made it great. So yeah, that's what I'm going to give it.
We're way off. This is the first one we're way off, because I'm only because of the people involved and the notable spots there was. It does deserve. It's not like a terrible match, but it was. The length killed it. I think it seems very contrived. It didn't seem legitimate, and in a hybrid Fed, you kind of need that aspect a little bit. So I'm going to go 1.5 on this one.
I would say, I mean, going into the match, I was expecting. Maybe this was my fault. I was probably expecting a 4 out of 4 match. I think this is two of my favorite guys, like in terms of just like presence on the show, but I think probably 2.75 out of 4.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So I'm getting buried here by the uncrowned as we move forward to the.
That's per usual.
To the segment of the night. By far, it is Drago staking his claim to the best in the world and calling out the COO, the son-in-law, Nate Ortiz.
Yeah, I mean, the original Nate and Drago feud was, pretty sure it was before all of our time, but obviously this match booked for SummerSide, I guess, it is a marquee match of epic proportions. I've written here, like, everything about this match smells like money, and it just, similar to the Pew versus Rex match, it just has that feel about it, like that I guess, again, as I said, marquee matchup feel.
I think it's always nice to see Drago's like serious side come out, because there's a lot of times where like he's not really taken very seriously. He's just kind of jumping about, having a mess around, but like very much you can tell here that Drago cares about beating Nate again, which is obviously. I mean, I'm excited to see this match because
I was going.
Yeah, there's
I was going to say
lines here.
Yeah. And I was going to say, Nate is a genuine threat to Drago's dominance. In terms of people who you look at and could say realistically could beat Drago, Nate is up there with one of the
by
people.
Himself.
I think Nate is.
I'd
say Nate is probably the only guy who I would say, oh yeah, that guy, I could see Drago actually losing to him.
Says the guy and/or his brother who pinned him. I'm still not sure which one is which.
That was the man who pinned him.
Yeah, but I mean, I did have to kick out of about 5 different things, and I'm not very good at kicking out. So I think it was kind of just like a lightning hits the same place twice.
Fair enough. With that, we'll move on to the final page. This is a very interesting promo. It's actually the last promo of the show. I
did not like this promo.
I'll let you start. Like Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it felt out of character, and in a way, it kind of buried the women's title. Like, it just seemed to me, reading it, like Valkyrie did not give a shit about the title. She seemed bored. She didn't seem
bored.
Like,
she said she was bored.
She said she was bored. Yeah, like I think, and the fact that this whole collision course to resolution with Valkyrie's crowning moment and finally getting over that struggle that she's had all the way up to resolution, with Jay and with all that stuff, all that work that went into that resolution build, and now she's fallen back into it. For what reason? She's the champion. She's been fucked around by Valkyrie and Empress, but she was fucked around by Blaine.
Ashley.
Yeah. And I get that there's the parents involved, and and that, but Valkyrie, I don't know. It just didn't feel right. You know, I've written here the Valk's crowning moment in Lucian was supposed to be Johnny Gargano winning the NXT Championship and vanquishing those demons finally, and this just felt like a step back to me. So you know, that's all I have to say about it. Really, I think Valkyrie should be beyond this character. It just buries the product, it buries the championship, and it buries Valkyrie Empress for not being a good enough challenger. So yeah.
Well, I don't think this RP, I don't think it doesn't have a place. I think it doesn't have a place with this character. Like I don't understand. I got to this page and like I read it a couple times and I'm like, is like the name filled in wrong? Is this supposed to be like, what am I? Like, did they switch Empress and like what's going on here? But I think it's I don't know what was going on there. By is she setting up for a heel turn again? Like this is her being arrogant.
Is Ed okay?
Yeah.
Does Ed need some? Does he need a hug?
But I mean, if something happens with this, if Valkyrie like is starting a heel turn, but this seems like a one-off where she's mad about people thinking people are imitating her and like not being impressed by other people. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
This doesn't feel like a heel turn. This feels like a board turn.
I don't get it personally.
No, I think this had a place 3 months ago, 4 months ago. Not now. I don't know.
And
you know,
on that, I think she very much had very similar promos 3-4 months ago when she was actually getting shafted.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I think before we move on, I think Doc said it best. Like that. It was supposed to be, you know, bored, doubting yourself. I'm out of here after this, and then you vanquish them with the Sigrun armor. It was a fucking awesome moment, and I don't know why you're coming back to this now. You're supposed to be the face of the company at this point. So anyway, we'll see how she responds on the upcoming Riot, which I said the card came out earlier, and now we get to my favorite match of the night for many reasons.
Mine as well. Probably mine as well. Yeah.
I have nothing to say.
With everything involved, man. This was so good. We're in a position with Doc Green being 2.5 years the younger or the less experienced to H2O, and then H2O having his own struggles. So from a completely out of kayfabe standpoint, I was like, this has the chance to be a squash match in the main event. This is this is dangerous. I think Doc Green's going to kick the shit out of him, but H2O has this weird switch where he can get squashed one night and the next night he is beating one of the better players in the Fed. So
yeah, well you think about it, like Resolution, he was getting his ass kicked by Drago, and now he's the world champ. Like I think this match. But
also, I'm sorry, before we get to that, H2O did on that road to becoming world champion. He also did beat B17, who was the previous challenger. So even then, before he beat me, he beat B17 as well. So you know, Doc is a good handler, but sometimes he just doesn't show it. So,
well, for the match,
he's not a good handler. He's not a good handler. He's a great handler.
He's one of my role models in OCW. He was when I first joined. So, even though I hate his guts. So H2O,
I love it. I love Doc.
One of the bigger swerves in this build. I thought what we were going to see after. Like, I was super interested. I was like, oh, man, this H2O, this, like, downtrodden. He's, like, wearing a tank top to the ring. Like, this is interesting. How is this going to go? And then just like that, boom, just kidding. I'm still Harvey Hamilton Ocean, motherfuckers. That was pretty cool because it looked like he was going one way. And whether you liked it or not, he just like, nah, I'm a heel again. Fuck you guys.
I would have liked to see H2O come back as H2O at Consequence. I would have saved the comeback until
you think
this
he pulled
show.
it a little early?
Yeah, I think he did. I think obviously like it was a good moment in terms of like, yeah, I'm back, motherfuckers. But I think I would have definitely saved it for this. I think it would have been more sad.
Well, I still think it was satisfying, and with the in-ring action, there is not a lot to. I hate to say there's not a lot to say about it because you look at these two people in the ring together. It's money. It's money every time. You're not going to have any issues.
This match very much felt big time. Like from the first bell to the last, like both entrances, the guys look like stars. Like Doc Green coming out from the crowd, looking like an absolute beast, just not caring. Just, I can enter where I want because I'm the fucking world champ. Just like the flip in the title introduction because he didn't care because he's the world champ.
That was cool.
And then just
the flip.
the flip, he was very confident. It displayed confidence. I didn't love the coming through the audience thing as much, just because it didn't really... You came out with security guards, and then the security guards leave you alone when you get to the most populated area of the arena. So it's kind of weird. But...
Yeah, but he's the world champ. But he's the world champ. He can fight 5 members of the crowd.
Yeah,
he's got resilience.
He's got resilience.
I've got resilience.
But the match was great. I honestly, you can hear it in my voice if you go back and listen. The fact that you didn't, after what I just watched for the last 3 months, after you did not kick out of the second Riptide, I was like, what? Like, I was blown away by that. And so, like, it was very good for both people involved. Doc Green has been nothing but he's been a very good champion. It's certainly not a situation where losing this does not hurt the title.
I think if Doc's title reign went any longer, it would have got very stale. I think you want babyface title reigns to be, you want it to be a good length, but you don't want it to be massive. Like, you look at like AJ Styles, like 300 odd day reign with the title. Like, by the end, it was just boring because this guy was supposed, like, Doc Green is supposed to be like an underdog, like, lucky, I fight for the fans, whatever. But if he's beating everyone's ass every week in, week out, which is what he was doing, because he only got pinned like once or twice up to from winning the championship to becoming it to losing it, like it was going to get stale. I think this is very much the perfect moment for him to lose it, and there's definitely different avenues that he can explore in terms of what he does now, because he's very much been the same for a long time.
He's got to go get it back.
At some point, I think there is definitely Doc's now established as a main event. Like, he could go back into there.
I was going to say, but like with what you said, you know, this is really Doc's like third crowning moment. Like, he needs to now be able to hold his bottle in his first defense.
Yeah, I think very much this felt like the actual, like, the first time he won it this season in the triple threat. It was very much like, oh, H2O's won it, but it was a triple threat, so a lot was going on. Paul Pugh just came back, then he won it off like a surprise next. I think this definitely felt like a definitive H2O is here now. I hope I'm not proven wrong. I hope he actually has a good reign, because he very much like
deserves it.
If he does keep the title for more than one defense, then I think definitely there's a lot. Like, H2O has very much like got over that hump that he's been trying to get over for so long.
Harvey, I think we're all hoping here, because I don't know, I think he's one of the ultimate tweeners, but abandoning the very much wholesome Doc Green in that tag match, he's definitely leaning heel at this point. So he is coming back to the good light. So that's where I have him at this point. But I'm still hoping that. I think the way he lost it last time was way more damning than the fact that he lost it, because he took third wheel. It was all about Cass and Pugh. He got eliminated first as the champion in that triple threat match.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the match is going to be at Summerside just yet, but depending on the way it goes, there's a route where he loses and it's not as damaging, but to do it twice in a row to lose in your first defense would hurt.
I think you look at like the post-match angle as well, with Court coming out and teasing the cash-in, and then H2O and Doc getting on the same page, and the double flip was really like a really cool moment. I think very much the original idea that me and Adam had was, oh, Doc's just going to do a decent, like, just a flip over, and I was like, why don't we just do a double flip? It'll just look 10 times cooler. And
it's just one of those things that you can't do unless you have someone like your brother in OCW who can help with another control.
Yeah.
Okay, well, any final words, Doc, before we rate it and send it home?
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I'm not going to rate my own match, but, you know, Doc was a pleasure to work with. I hope he defends the title, but, you know, if I'm the one facing him, then he's not going to, so.
The trash talk begins. I'm giving it 4 out of 4. It's perfect. Great match.
Ooh. I was going to give it 3.5.
3.5 is perfectly reasonable. I only grade in halves. I give it a 3.689. No, but
3.69.
I only give. I only want to stay with the halves, so I'm going to give it 4, just because the where it is on the card, how much it means for the future of OCW, especially going into our second biggest event of the year. I think it's a 4 for me. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I can't dispute that, because I think there was no issues with the match other than the botched suicide dive that Doc did, but other than that,
and I got fucked by the game with the.
Exactly. Yeah, we can. Yeah.
So we'll wrap it up here. Kept it under an hour. Well done, gentlemen. Obviously, we'll do match of the night first. Mine's very obvious. It's H2O versus Doc Green. What do you guys think?
I'm going to go for H2O versus Doc as well. I think. Actually,
and I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Now you go first.
I would say H2O and Doc probably slightly edges the women's match because it had more of an interesting build and it was very much it had a more big time feel to it than the Valkyrie match. But both were very, very good.
Yeah, well, on that token, I'm going to go with Valkyrie versus Empress. You know, ignoring that Valkyrie promo, this was very much a night for me for that women's title. You know, it was a fantastic match. You know, there's nothing like, obviously, you know, there is a debate for my match, but I'm never going to say my match was the best because that would be incredibly egotistical. So, but
and
so Valkyrie versus Empress, well done.
And for the record, Val, please don't shoot on us. We still love you. We're just speaking our minds here on your program.
No, we don't.
So then the segment of the night, I don't think there's nothing else to be said other than Drago and
Nate versus Drago.
Yeah. I've written down here Nate versus Drago RP, obviously.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Doc's notes.
I will also agree with that. I think.
So with a little bit time left, I just want one name that you're looking at. It doesn't have to be obvious, but somebody you're looking at going forward to Summerside.
Ooh.
Could be anybody. Could be somebody who wasn't booked.
H2O. That's probably the cop-out answer, but like I'm very much hoping he can establish himself as like a solid, like consistent main eventer now, especially now after he's won the title back and he's had this moment. I think another honorable mention could probably be Court Marshall with the Future Investment briefcase having like probably his best match of the season against Trey.
Easily, I think.
Like he's in a good position now to push on, essentially.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with AC Cobra.
Ooh,
he's my cowboy.
Oh, yeah. I love the viewing. It would be the most when he pinned him was so great.
It would be the most AC Cobra thing to do though than lose his title on his first defense.
Well, we still don't actually know who that is. It really could be anybody because that's kind of a wild card belt in OCW.
Yeah. As long as you're under 2.
AC Cobra Open Challenge.
Oh,
no,
God.
let's not. Oh, you know what? It begs to be mentioned. I have to mention this. The first match in the light heavyweight titles lineage in season 14 was the first light heavyweight challenge open at Anniversary. And who was the challenger to Drago Caesar? AC Cobra. So we've come full circle on that one. Mine is going.
Love that stuff.
Yeah, mine is going to be. Shoot. My brain is not working here. Oh, it's Solomon Kane. Mine is going to be Solomon Kane.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got to be Solomon Kane. I think he's on the fast track to stardom. I think like he's got it figured out. He knows how to play these Discord marks too.
If he cleans up his look and actually looks like makes his character look like a legitimate like threat to Malu or someone like that. Like, could imagine Solomon Kane in the ring with Malu.
What's part of Solomon Kane doesn't look like a threat? He could have a gun anywhere.
Exactly. I think that's part of the unique allure is that he's like this stringy, pale looking dude, and it's like he got it over somehow. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. I like Nick a lot.
Fair play to me.
He got it over by getting horse kicked.
Yeah. So I know I said I wanted to rank the pay-per-views after this, but I don't want to push this longer than it has to be. We'll do that at the end of Summerside. This has been the final word with Doc or Everett or Doc and Everett. Still haven't figured it out. And me, Speaker Guy Yake. So final word is back. We will get you back at Summerside. Not going to do one for Savage Saturday because it's right around the corner and I don't have that much mental energy. Yeah. So enjoy Savage Saturday. There's a lot planned, including the CCW Championship match with Code Jackman. See if you can grab that back. So any final words, gentlemen?
I need a piss.
Great final word.
Roll on Summerside,
yeah. I'm very much looking. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the like where OCW goes now.
That was so terrible. I'm sorry. I apologize sincerely. Right. Oh, are we done here then?
Done here then. We love you, OCW. We're out.
Yeah.